Hi, welcome back to the Finley Formation. This is Brandon.
This Gage.
And this is Jared. And we've officially made it.
Yes.
We have football within the week. We
Yeah.
have the Hall of Fame preseason game, Chargers versus the Lions. It is Thursday the 31st, 6 o'clock kickoff Mountain Time, NBC. The only thing I can really take from significance of this, because I don't think you're going to see Justin Herbert, you're probably not going to see, any first team guys, is Antonio Gates for the Chargers. He is getting elected into the Hall of Fame for the 2025 class. So
Nice.
whenever we did I believe I did the Chargers when we did the team breakdowns, but I think the thing that surprised me the most was like Antonio Gates was like number 3 all time, like receiving touchdowns leader, which is kind of crazy because I remember just watching him play and it just never really dawned on me like how many like receiving touchdowns he was getting. He just had like a longevity and he was just so consistent with like, I don't know, it seemed like anywhere from like 8 to 10 touchdowns, but he
Right.
played for so long that you look at his stats compared to like Travis Kelce's, and you think of like Travis Kelce being like one of the top tight ends that we've always watched just recently, and how far behind he is of actually like Antonio Gates' statistics. But as far as the game goes, usually, and like in years past, you're not getting to get too much from this Hall of Fame game as far as like any intel
Like
from
the Stars.
the
playing.
stars playing. I mean, it's just going to be basic, probably defense, offensive type of stuff. The one thing that I am interested in seeing is kind of like what the Lions look like without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn as their coordinators. You're probably not going to get too far into the weeds with that, but it will be significant, I think, losing probably two of the better coordinators, I think, in the league. So that's interesting to me. And Chargers, we're going to get some Trey Lance action.
Yeah.
Some stuff that we've been waiting for years.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I think you're right. I think it's going to be pretty vanilla. But, we've never had a preseason game start this early.
Mhm.
So, I mean, maybe you could throw out your starters for a little bit because even if they get a little dinged up, I mean, you still got over a month for them to get,
Right.
get healthy. So maybe that'll be a plan and get the starters, get the first stringers out there. But, I
Yeah.
mean, I doubt it. I'm just saying you could if you wanted. But
Yeah, I mean, biggest thing that worries me is I think it's going to look real sloppy.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it's the earliest we've ever had a preseason game. And so you're throwing all your young guys who don't know anything about your playbook and stuff because it's their first year and you're throwing them all out there
yeah.
in July. It's like, ooh.
And
Is it
they're
gonna
just barely will be getting done with camps.
Yeah, they'll be just
if
barely
they
done
are.
with OTAs. Yeah.
Is there some rookies on these teams that we can remember?
So I think Omarion Hampton
Okay,
is
that's
the
right.
one that
The Chargers.
I'm looking
Okay.
forward to seeing for the Chargers there. So yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that dude looks like he's going to be pretty explosive. I think he was in North Carolina,
he
right?
was, yeah.
ACC.
Yep.
I think he did pretty damn good there too. So
I did forget about that. So another big thing is Najee Harris. He went to the Chargers. I remember when he first did that, we were kind of liking that because, Najee Harris isn't like a running back that none of us had in our top 10, but he was just a consistent, he was always available. He was always kind of getting just barely over 1,000 yards. He was never too explosive, but that's kind of like what we talked about the Chargers kind of needing going into the season was just stability at the running back position. And then Najee Harris has that eye incident injury with the firework, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
So you might see a whole lot of Omarion Hampton in this game,
Right.
which is good.
Yeah, I think Harris didn't even make it to the OTAs
No.
or whatever.
Yeah. And then Frank Ragnow's replacement. Everything that I've heard is that Tate Ratledge from Ohio State. I think he's a rookie.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
center.
He was their
Yeah.
second round pick this year.
So
Detroit.
he's going to take over. So it'll be
Is he gonna
interesting.
play center or guard?
Yeah.
It has him listed as guard.
Oh, does it?
We'll see.
From what I seen, I thought he was going to take over at center.
Was he? Okay.
Either way, he's interior. all the way
Right.
down.
He's interior. Yeah.
But their first round pick was that Tyleik Williams.
Oh, that's
defensive
right.
tackle.
That's true.
So,
That'll be good to see him.
yeah.
That'd be really good to see him, that defensive tackle. And then, like I said, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of difference as far as play style goes with the Lions offensively and defensively. But
yeah, which actually coincidentally was one of my preseason things was their new coaches. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I don't think you're going to notice it here so much,
but it'll be fun. I'm excited to start watching football again. This is just the beginning. I think they said this is like the first Thursday that we're going to get football all the way through. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Yep. Be fun.
going into our preseason talk, I only had really one topic, and it kind of goes to the Najee Harris.
Okay, we had some technical difficulties because of the damn dog, but we're ready to rock. He likes being on this stuff.
Yeah.
So
I was just going to go into one of the storylines that I look for in preseason is just injuries to significant players, and I think the biggest one so far, and it didn't happen during OTAs or anything or the preseason, but it was a little before, is Tristan Wirfs' knee injury for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I consider him probably at least top 2, top 3 left tackles in the league. All reports said he's going to be out until, first month of the season.
mm-hmm.
So, and I don't have it in front of me, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first 6 games are pretty daunting.
Oh, really?
So that's a pretty tough stretch. I did see Matthew Stafford's out for the first couple weeks with back soreness. And it's always weird. Matthew Stafford always has something going on during training camp,
mm-hmm.
and it kind of shows because the Rams always start off slow. They're always 2-4, 2-5 halfway through the season, and then the last 2 years they've been one of the hottest teams going into the playoffs. And I don't know if that's a correlation with Matthew Stafford missing quite a bit of time. It kind of has to be, but and then there was was it a cornerback for the Dolphins? One of the starting cornerbacks got hurt, tore his ACL or something like that.
Yeah.
So just big injuries like that to actual starters that kind of could change the dynamic of how the season's going to go. I think that's kind of what I look for mostly.
Yeah, the Niners have Jacob Cowing, wide receiver 1 at the current moment.
Yeah, Ricky
Yeah,
Pearsall's on the pub list.
Brock Purdy missed the practice.
Yeah,
I think Jawan Jennings did show up. Was he hurt though? He was at practice.
I'm not sure,
but
yeah, I think he's holding in.
What's that?
Because he wants a new contract.
Yeah, and he's showing up. He's just not practicing.
I think he's practicing and everything.
Is he?
Just still wants a contract.
Okay, so he'll be Yeah, I hear what you're saying though. Yeah, the injury thing is crazy. Mm-hmm. And I did see the Dolphins sign Mike Hilton and another cornerback to fill in that hole. I mean, it's still, you're wondering why they didn't go there sooner because they needed it. And then if they were injured there too, then it's definitely going to be terrible.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Except I like the Mike Hilton signing.
I do like Hilton.
I don't think he's too bad at all.
No, that'd be good. And then it's just continue on the injury situation. It's just players that aren't going to be ready for the beginning of the year. You got your Brandon Ayuk's. It's not an injury situation, but Rashee Rice, kind of all signs are pointing to him probably being suspended for anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks.
Right.
Well, he's spent 30 days in jail.
Right.
But it's up to him over the next 5 years what 30 days he spends in jail, which is crazy.
Wow. Must be nice, huh?
But he'll be wearing an ankle monitor during games because he's got 5 years probation. So.
Which kind of throws probably a wrench in Kansas City's plans because Rashee Rice, all purposes, is wide receiver 1 for Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Godwin, I'm not sure how his injury situation is, but he had a pretty significant injury last year.
Yeah.
He didn't come back. Aiden Hutchinson for the Detroit Lions. I mean, his leg was pretty much snapped in half, and he was leading the league in sacks. So
that was nasty.
You got to think they're probably going to ease him back into it. Just as far as injuries coming into the season too, that guys didn't finish the season with are going to be big. Brandon Ayuk doesn't seem like he's going to play probably the first 4 weeks, so that'll be pretty significant for the 49ers wide receiver room.
And then also put pressure on the Niners front office to get Jawan Jennings signed, which I heard they're working on it now. A 2-year, $13 million extension.
Right.
Something like that. So
yeah, which will be awesome. But isn't Ricky on isn't he questionable too right now?
He's on the pub. They started him off on the pub. So.
Yeah, I think they cleared him last I seen. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it was, just the injuries are crazy. And then bad thing about it is during the off season, like the OTAs, I mean, and then into preseason, that's when you should be getting dialed in.
Right.
And if your guys aren't there, like you're saying, I totally see that's a huge deal. Especially, I think that it affects a lot of the O-line that people don't see too. Those guys got to gel, especially if they're new guys to that. So if you got new linemen together. Yep.
So the biggest one for me, and I already mentioned, was the Tristan Wirfs. I think that's going to kind of hinder them, no matter how many options they got at wide receiver and how good they are. But, when you lose your left tackle, we've kind of seen that with the 49ers. Whenever Trent Williams isn't playing, their offense looks totally different. Even in the run game, the pass game is kind of they have to gear it towards different things. So it'll be interesting. The Bucs might, come out 2-4 with him being gone, or 2-2 or something like that. And it's
Mhm.
not the start you want. Tristan Wirfs being gone, so
Right.
we'll
Right.
see.
And I don't know if their base, I know their offense is really great, but I don't know if their base is of a whole team together is good enough. Their
Right.
defense, everything to come back from a slow start
Mhm.
too. I mean, they're not the Rams. They're not,
Right.
there's every team can get hot, but I don't feel like that is the rosters of some of those other teams. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to hit any 8-win runs or anything.
Mhm.
I think best we'll get out of them is maybe start 2-2, go 7-2, then lose a couple more.
Right.
Yep. All right. So yeah, going on one I had, and I think this one's for me personally exactly, is the Colts. And so watching them this preseason, I think is huge because I don't think that by any means do they have a Super Bowl roster necessarily, but they have a roster that could win that AFC South, all except for the quarterback position. And
their running back position because Jonathan Taylor can't stay healthy.
well, yeah, true. But when he is healthy, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's coming in healthy, but who
So
knows? They might play him one snap in preseason. And
right. So, I looked into this earlier when I was, prepping for the show, and I was like, well, I want to look to see because I know their defense didn't play well last season. But I was like, how bad were they? They were 29 in defense, I think was total yards per game. So I was like, damn, that does suck. But they went and addressed that problem with Javarius Ward. They got the safety Bynum, so they really, their passing defense was terrible. And so
Yeah.
they went and got that. They still got
Mhm.
DeForest Buckner, who's a stud. And
didn't they get that Latu in the draft last year too?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they've addressed that position, and I think their defense is going to be much better. They went and got tight end Tyler Warren, and so I mean I'm just wondering if they did all this because that quarterback position right now the battle is between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones had one season that was decent, made him a lot of money from that
Yep.
season, and then hasn't had a good season
Mhm.
since, or even really before that. And then Anthony Richardson, another. I don't think that he's explosive. He's can make big plays, but I don't think the guy's been consistent enough to even play one good full game, let alone a whole full season, even
Mhm.
if he does stay healthy. So I'm just wondering, do we think that might be that battle there? Is either of these guys going to be good enough, and are we going to see it during the preseason that maybe they'll take over, or is this just going to be a good roster that's wasted?
Well, I think if I was sitting there as the coach, I don't think it's too much of a battle. Because I would take AR just for its explosiveness. Even though we have seen Daniel Jones run 22 miles per hour, so
They
that did
both use
happen.
their legs. Yeah.
But I think just his play style, you could do read options. As long as Jonathan Taylor's healthy, I think it'd be better to have Anthony Richardson in the backfield because then you could do read options, triple options, RPOs. And I do think the roster's good enough. I think it'll be, I don't know, I think they'll be fringe playoff team, maybe wild card. I
Yeah.
do think they're
So,
a good enough
but you
roster.
think
I
either of those quarterbacks could do it, or you think just Richardson?
Yes, I think the roster's good enough that they don't need a great quarterback. I'm
Okay.
always, the top guy. You don't need a quarterback. I think this is one of the rosters where you don't need a quarterback.
Yeah, I go back 2 years ago when Richardson was a rookie, and they started off pretty good. Richardson started off pretty decent, then he had that shoulder injury, and I think Gardner Minshew took over, and they damn near made the playoffs. I think.
Yeah.
Right? Did
Yeah.
they make the playoffs, or they were
I don't
like a
think
couple
they
plays
did.
away?
I think
right?
they won 8 or 9 games.
Did they?
Yeah.
So I mean, when Gardner Minshew's your starting quarterback, and you're winning that many games, I mean that's kind of a reflection of their kind of the roster that they've built. Michael Pittman's a receiver. Joshua Downs is a receiver. I really like those two. I like the addition of Tyler Warren as a tight end. He's another option for them. Jonathan Taylor was healthy all of last year, I believe. I think he played in
Yeah, if
He
anything,
played
he
in
might
like
have missed
14.
14
two
or
games
15.
maybe.
yeah, which is good for him.
Right.
So
Right.
and I mean, besides the bonehead play of dropping the ball in the end zone before and
Right.
during the Denver Broncos, I thought he was like one of the top backs in the league as far as yardage and probably touchdowns behind Saquon and Derrick Henry. Defensively, I think they got Lou Amarillo as their defensive coordinator.
Mhm.
He's proven to be a really good defensive coordinator. I mean, I think he just kind of got handed kind of a crappy situation there his last couple of years in Cincinnati with injuries, with veterans. I'm playing a whole bunch of rookies and kind of free agents because they decided to pay their quarterback and a couple wide receivers, so they didn't have a whole lot of money towards
Right.
their defense. So I like that move, Lou Amarillo going there. I'm with Gage. I think that the roster is good enough to win. I think they're kind of I don't know. Shane Steichen might be tied, and Chris Ballard, their GM, might be tied to Anthony Richardson because they drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the last years. I guess they could have a couple more years with Anthony Richardson, but I'm going to say that Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard are both probably on a hot seat with how, they've addressed the situation with quarterbacks, because we talked about it during the Colts team breakdown. It's been ever since Andrew Luck retired in the preseason, it's been like veteran quarterback, veteran quarterback, veteran quarterback. And then they had the keys to finally draft a young quarterback in Anthony Richardson. If this doesn't work out, you think he's kind of tied to both of their futures too as well. So I'm going to say that Anthony Richardson probably going to be the starter to begin.
Okay. No, I kind of agree with you guys. I think they'll probably go Richardson. I'm just on the opposite of that. Is I don't think that he's going to be good enough to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he hinders the team. I think he could hinder this team even into some losses, turnovers, and stuff. But I don't think he makes a full season either way. And then you got Daniel Jones, and who knows what you're going to do there. So I don't know. I mean, it's just one thing that I think watching this preseason battle, I think that's a huge one, because I do think they have a good roster. So I think, but Daniel Jones had some pretty good rosters up there in New York too. So we'll see. We'll see. Just one that I'm going to be watching for, because I mean, the Colts, I kind of like them. I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan necessarily, but I like what they got going on. I like some of their players there. So I like, Taylor, and I definitely like Forrest Buckner.
We should better not steal Taylor in the fantasy draft. I had him for like 2 years straight in drafts.
Yep.
I always take the risk. Even if he gets hurt, man, he's going to drop a 30-point game at some point for me.
All right, you got anything? Bring up? Anything you're watching?
I think you're going to get them all covered. So,
all right. Well, I got a couple more of you guys.
The only other one I got is I'm going to kind of keep my eye on the second-year quarterbacks, because you always kind of hear the second-year slump. I don't think C.J. Stroud necessarily landed in that. I think his offensive line was just so bad that
I think it was just so bad the first year too that it definitely counted as sophomore slump.
Right, and so you look at his stats from like his rookie year and his second year; they were pretty comparable. It's just watching those like playoff games, and it's just like, holy cow, they're just not even giving him a chance. And I don't think he was like too confident and having the ability or the time to throw the ball down to field the receivers. But going on to like Caleb Williams, I think his situation is definitely better with coaching. You get Matt Eberflus out of there, who was a defensive coach anyway, and you finally get a competent offensive coordinator to actually coach that offense and coach him up. I think he'll probably look a little bit better. Jaden Daniels, this is kind of surprising to me, is you kind of saw the situation with C.J. Stroud too, but you always hear the conversation like, hey, your window to win a Super Bowl is most open whenever you can surround your really good rookie quarterback while he's on a rookie contract.
Yep.
And I don't feel like the Texans did that last year with C.J. Stroud, and they really didn't do it this year in his third year by trading away your best offensive lineman.
Right.
When your biggest hole is your offensive line. I don't think they did that with Jaden Daniels as well. So it'll be interesting. They're kind of just saying, hey, let's run this back and see how well it goes. They did trade for Jeremy Tunsil, who was the Texans' best offensive lineman. So I really like that.
Yeah.
I really like that for Jaden Daniels, but
they're going to lose their number one wide receiver, though.
So which is kind of crazy to me. It's just like, you guys have the money to do it because your quarterback is on a rookie contract. Just pay the guy.
Yeah.
They went and got Debo. I think we all kind of have our feelings about Debo. I think he's really good at doing certain things.
I don't think he's no longer fat. He just hated the Niners so much. He told Luke he got fat and left, and now he's at like 8% body fat at like 230 or whatever. I just saw.
I don't think they're going to run him as much as the Niners did either. So,
but I mean, as far as like their weapons go, like you're in a contract dispute with a really good wide receiver one for you, Terry McLaurin. Debo is probably your number two, and is it De'Ami Brown is going to be your number three? So you're kind of running it back. Zach Ertz is still your tight end. Brian Thomas Jr. is still your running back. I think they got Gage's favorite still in Austin Eckler. I think he's still there. So it's just kind of confusing to me, like your window now with Jaden Daniels of what he proved as a rookie and leading you to the conference championship game. Like you didn't take any steps to try to improve,
like drastically.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. While you have it. Yeah.
So that
like they did in New England.
Yeah.
Where they went for it.
Yeah.
So.
So it'll be interesting to see this next steps that those rookie quarterbacks take. I talked about Caleb Williams. His situation is probably going to be better. Jaden Daniels, you kind of hope he gets a little bit better, but you hope he didn't like kind of peak a little bit as a rookie and kind of take a step back because they're not addressing that. I don't think you're going to see that. From what we saw in the playoffs and how composed and how everything looked, the way he kind of handled the situations of being in the playoffs and going into Tampa Bay and winning there, going to Detroit and winning there, and then he didn't even play bad against the Eagles. I think the Eagles just kind of bombarded them with turnovers and scoring so fast and everything like that.
Yeah,
Bo Nix.
I think that he's going to improve. I think their win total is going to go down.
I think so too.
Now they have a target on their back.
Yeah.
And I think that the NFC East just,
I think so too,
I don't think you're going to see the Cowboys be as down during the season.
Right.
No, I still think they got 2 free wins on the Cowboys, but
I think Cowboys are going to be good during the season. They're going to lose right off the bat in the playoffs.
But then you got to look at like the Giants situation. All signs are pointing them to have a pretty
they're going to
be elite pass rush. So, going against that Washington offensive line, you got to think that's going to get better. Bo Nix, being with Sean Payton, I think that situation is probably going to stay the same. I think they kind of they didn't improve anywhere. I don't think offense.
They went to their defense, but I think they did draft another wide receiver. I think
did they?
Yeah, I think so.
But
that's kind of thing I'm looking for as far as second year quarterbacks. Who's going to take like that kind of next leap and who's going to kind of fall off a little bit.
Well, on that, I actually think they put Drake May in a really good situation to excel there, and we'll see. That could be bad. If he doesn't do good with what they've put around him, we'll see. It still could be a sophomore slump, but I actually think you're right. I think Caleb Williams is in the best spot to do better, to improve, and in fact, I think I mentioned that I think that's going to be their first 44,000-yard passer in history.
Yep.
I think it will be Caleb Williams.
You think so?
I do.
4,000-yard passer?
Yeah, I think he was 33 or 34 his rookie season anyway. So now he might have a little bit of a slump, so it might not necessarily be this season, but it will happen. But
I don't think he'll have a slump. I think he'll be at 35, 36. I just don't think. I think his cap. You never truly know, especially with we had Baker Mayfield who didn't look like he was going to do anything, and then went to the Bucs. But I think his cap's probably about that 3,700-yard mark.
Oh, yeah.
I think
who they get at running back? They did something at running back with the Bears.
I don't think they did. I think they kept Swift.
Is that
because they drafted that Colston Loveland from Michigan with their first pick.
Right.
So they got. As far as weapons that go, they still got DJ Moore, who's a pretty solid number one. They got that Roma Dunze that they drafted last year.
Yep.
And then they got Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet for their tight ends, which is pretty solid.
Good. Yeah, Kmet did good too.
But I don't think they did anything as far as running backs go.
I think they're going to have to pass a lot.
Right.
I don't think that they're set on defense yet to really take over games and just be able to grind out, on the run game. And I don't think if it is Swift, he doesn't have the ability to grind defenses down anyway.
Right? No, they did draft a running back. It was just 7th round. It was Kyle Moningay, something like that.
No.
But I really like the receiver core.
So that's another reason why I think that 4,000 yards could be on the horizon for him because they're going to have to. He's going to have to show it. So.
Well, I totally forgot about a signing, and it changes my mind entirely. They got Olamide Zaccheaus as their starting slot. So. But then they also drafted that Luther Burden III.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Down to Missouri.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like 4,000 could be right there, and with Ben Johnson,
right.
Yeah. 1,600 yards from Olamide.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I like the second year thing. That's awesome. Be looking at them. I don't know how much playing time they're going to get during the preseason or whatever,
somebody we didn't mention talk about second year. What about Drake May?
I did kind of mention it a little bit.
Yeah, you mentioned how the Patriots actually revamped their roster, but I think we're talking like a top 10 quarterback season for Drake May this year.
So I think they've put it around him. I think the only thing that's still kind of is his receiving core, and it depends on Diggs. Honestly, I think if he goes in there and plays like he did in first couple of years with the Bills and then like he did with the Vikings,
and isn't a crybaby little,
and actually helps this kid get going, man. I think you could see it for sure.
Yeah.
I liked what I seen from him, or in the short span that we've seen.
Yeah, I still think he's going to end up being the best quarterback in this class. I think he'll end up beating out Jaden. Might just take a couple of years.
Yeah, might be. Yeah, didn't have the flare up right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that one. That's cool. Yeah, I think we're all going to be watching that, see who's going to come out and be good this next season. So one I have, I guess right off the top, we should have just threw the
Browns QB.
Browns right out there. It's a QB battle that's just crazy. It was so funny too because I was reading a thing, sorry, and they were like, or it was watching it too. They showed a video of them throwing some passes, and anytime a quarterback completes a pass in OTAs, they're like, "Oh, what do you notice?" And I'm like, "He threw a pass on 7-on-7.
Right.
Cool, real cool." And then I read the caption. It was like, and this was serious. This wasn't a joke. I don't think it was because I was looking for it to be like, where's the punchline? But he was like, "Oh, Shadur Sanders has the tightest balls." I was like nobody spins the rock like Shadur. I was like, okay, this is a joke, right? But no, man, it was like seriously said. I was like, okay, I guess he's got the tightest balls. Guess that's good, tight balls and OTAs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if you look at that one, I don't know. I think that's overstated. Every time it seems like I look on ESPN, there's something about Shadur and that happening in Cleveland. So
we've done a lot of hate on Shadur for being cocky, but actually after watching some of their practices, I think I just like Dylan better. I think I want Dylan to succeed because I like him as a quarterback better. Now I do think Shadur falling to the 5th round did humble him. If you see him in interviews and stuff, he's just glad he actually made a roster and got drafted. He seems down to earth now since the NFL humbled him by not drafting him.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I don't know. It's just like I just want to be like, we didn't forget about it. We just, we know it's there.
So the kind of bringing up that topic, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out because there's not enough plays during the training camp and all that for all these quarterbacks to get reps, or especially 11-on-11.
Yeah,
I mean, there's 4 quarterbacks on that roster. You got Joe Flacco, Gage's favorite. They traded for Kenny Pickett, who's still technically on his rookie contract, so they're not paying him a whole bunch of money anyway. And then you draft Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders. So, I mean, I think we're all in consensus they're not going to go into the season with 4 quarterbacks. So there's got to be an odd man out. To me, I think they're going to give Shadur a chance. I think Kenny Pickett might be the odd man out. I think they want to try to keep Joe Flacco just for that veteran presence. And then obviously you're going to keep Dylan Gabriel. I really like Dylan Gabriel too. I think he'll eventually be
4th round pick or 3rd round pick.
I think he'll eventually be the starter. If we're going to guess like on how many games between Flacco, to me, I'm saying Kenny Pickett's not in it. So Flacco, Gabriel, and Shadur, I think Gabriel probably going to get you the most starts. I think you got to see, and being a 3rd round pick, you got to see what you have in the kid.
So you got 3 games within the preseason. How would you divvy that up? Like you're saying Dylan Gabriel.
I don't even think you give Joe Flacco any reps. I mean, Flacco was there 2 years ago, so
I would just let him just kind of hang out.
You know what you got with the other 3.
Yeah, I think between Shadur and Dylan Gabriel, I mean, even Kenny Pickett, I don't even know how many reps you're going to get Kenny Pickett in those 3 games.
Yeah, maybe just let them each start one, man.
Yeah,
and get some first, get out there with the starters.
Yeah, I'd have it be Dylan and Kenny Pickett heavy in the first few games. And here's what I would do in their situation. I really hope that's how they're thinking, although the Browns don't think, it seems like. But I think the way I would run it, play Kenny and Dylan first 2 weeks, try and figure out who you're going to start. And then kind of just throw a showcase on for Shadur. And then, week 5, week 6, somebody gets injured, you try and move him. Is how I would probably play it. Just show him off, show what he has. And then, come week 4, week 5, somebody quarterback gets hurt, trade him.
Yeah, so moving on, but still in the same division there. I think one I have actually written down is the Bengals, and I wrote this down. I want to see, because they're in the most interesting circumstances. They just barely signed their 1st round pick, and there was just that garbage talk over or that talk in his deal was all that garbage over that. It was ridiculous. Like they just were like, hey, that strong language in there that he didn't like. And they finally got all that situated. So Shamar Stewart finally got signed. And then you still have Trey Hendricks, who's, one of the best in the league, and they still haven't signed him. And then so then you got an offense that is a powerhouse, one of the best in the league, if not the best. And you got a defense that just did nothing last season, injuries and everything else. So I think their Bengals going into this one, I think we got to see something out of their defense. I mean, yeah, they're still going to run vanilla type defense. They don't want to show their hand, but they're going to have to do something there. They're going to have to really try to figure out who they got. So I think going into the preseason games, I think that, you know, it is. I can't remember who they drafted. I don't have it in front of me, but they did draft some defensive guys other than Shamar Stewart as well. But I think that it's going to be huge to get these guys a lot of reps because you're going to have to depend on a lot of guys, especially if they hit the injury bug like they did.
No, they don't depend on anybody. They still got Logan Wilson. They're fine.
Yeah.
And he's healthy, so.
And he'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good Logan Wilson. But yeah, I know it's funny because on this team, you could see that if the defense plays well, you could see them, like you talked about, they could be a Super Bowl team, at least make it there. They have the roster, but then if the defense plays bad again, I can see them going 9 wins, missing the playoffs.
Right.
So,
like, I think their offense is good enough that even if their defense was like 20th ranked defense.
Yeah, all they got to do is be mid-10.
Holy cow! Like. Instead of I don't know. I don't know if you guys have it in front of you or have ever looked, but they had to have been bottom 4 defensive last year.
I don't think they were.
And I remember because I think when they went on that 8-game win or 7-game win streak, whatever it was, their defense stepped up a bit. They started playing a little better. They started getting healthy. But during the time they weren't, they were last for like 4 or 5 weeks there.
Right. So even like
it looks better than what it was.
I think if they can even get to like say 18th to 20th ranked defense as far as like yardage and points or like in the DVOA, but like I think it gives them a chance because their offense is just so good that you just can give them a chance, man. Get a turnover here and there, get a 3 and out, get them to punt.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can we hold your opponents to 21 points? That's all you pretty much got to do. I think you got it taken care of there.
And my boy Al Golden's there from Notre Dame. He was the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, so he's there now.
And he's same position, right?
Yeah,
defensive coordinator.
But he was there before he went to Notre Dame. He was the linebacker coach at Cincinnati, so he has connections of in the building anyway. So I think that'll be good to bring him in to call the defense. It won't be as probably exotic, I guess, with as far as coverages and blitzes and stuff like that Lou Amarillo was trying to do, but I agree. I think if they can just figure out the Trey Hendrickson situation, why not pay the guy? I understand. It's the same thing with Terry McLaurin. These franchises get a little skittish when players get above like 29, 30 years old. They don't want to give them another big contract. But when Trey Hendrickson, has gotten you 17 and a half sacks the last 2 years, he's kind of warranted it.
Right.
Or trade him, Why wouldn't you trade him before the draft and get more draft capital?
Right.
Replace him with somebody younger. Obviously, you drafted Shamir Stewart to play that other bookend, but I don't know. I just don't understand owners thinking sometimes of not paying players that have produced for you.
Right.
Rather than
I think they're trying to find a way to fit in the cap space after paying their
paying
wide receivers $60 million.
So they got what was it? It's both Chase and Higgins are over 30. Joe Burrow's over 55, 56, I think he is.
Yeah.
On an average. So you got 3 players on offense that take up over probably $100 million in cap space.
And
and the total cap right now is like 270.
Right,
so
which is
they
crazy.
Take up like 40% of the cap between quarterback to wide receivers.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's an interesting situation, what they got going on there. It'll be interesting to see if this defense looks decent during preseason as when their starters are out there. And I do think they need to try to, knock some people down and actually run their scheme a little bit. Not just, most of these defenses and coaches, they just get out there and just want to see you tackle and how you do. They might actually want to try some new shit out, man, because they've got they got a great offense and they need to step it up and do something there.
Yeah,
so
maybe they should run like a 4-2-5 a little bit, and so that they can cover because their secondary is kind of dog shit still. So maybe they should try to 4-2-5 to see what they can work out there. Or who knows? Maybe it'll be the first time we see 4-1-6.
Ooh, dang!
Be some crazy stuff. Just put Logan Wilson out there.
There you go. I like that.
So most of us here from the big old WYO are fans of the Bills because of Josh Allen. So I had to bring up something there. I got to tell you, I think that one thing I'm looking at really closely during the preseason is going to be that wide receiver group because I still think it's pretty mid. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think Keon Coleman might have what it takes to be a starting receiver. I just don't know if he made it there last year. He didn't have a great rookie season. And I think that when they bring in Joshua Palmer was the guy they brought in, and then you have Khalil
Shakir.
Yeah,
Here.
Shakir. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there going, I'm not, like we talk about, a lot of these teams have a lot of number twos. I think that's kind of where they're at right now. I don't see a guy who's just like a standout number one. And I think so during this preseason, I think we need to find a guy there. I think the Bills need to find somebody who's going to actually be able to, take over on 3rd and long.
Yeah, I think we talked about it when you were doing the breakdown. The Bills kind of seemed like they took the blueprint the Kansas City Chiefs did after the Chiefs traded away Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like, hey, we got this, all-world quarterback. We're going to kind of surround him with a whole bunch of not so more important pieces.
Right.
I mean, they tried. I think we talked about it even during the playoff situation. It was like Keon Coleman and Armani Cooper had in those 2 games against the Ravens and Chiefs combined for 6 catches for 40 some yards, and it was just like, man, that's and they obviously they beat the Ravens, and they were 3 points away from beating the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a 1-score game with your top 2 receivers, and then Dalton Kincaid. It really hasn't panned out. He hasn't taken that next step. I think they drafted him to be that kind of receiving weapon for them, like he was at Utah, and he really hasn't taken that next step in 2 years. So he's kind of running out of time, I think, to start producing for them, because you figure being a first round pick after that 3rd year is when you can kind of start re-signing guys and giving them new contracts. It's kind of man, other than James Cook and Khalil Shakir, Shakir, I really like him, but he's your number 2 or 3 option probably in that offense. But when we did the breakdown of the Bills, James Cook really doesn't get that many touches, but when he does, he does the most with them, because he didn't have that whole lot of rushing guards, but he doesn't get a whole lot of touches either.
Yeah, they absolutely torched the Broncos defense the one time they did give them a lot of
Right.
rushes.
Yeah, right in the playoffs too.
Yep.
Just inside run after inside run, and just worked them all the way down the field. It was pretty awesome to see.
Yep.
So they do have a couple wide receivers we didn't mention. They picked up the Viscous Chenault Jr.
Okay.
Right now he's on the injured list, but he's still, active roster, not on the PUP list. So I think he'll probably end up playing. And then they also have Elijah Moore.
Oh, okay.
So I do think they're better.
Yeah.
They're still not anything outstanding, but they are better. And of course they have Curtis Samuel still, who I kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing seems to pop out to me from that list, though. You know what I mean? When I looked at their roster, too.
I think Elijah Moore does kind of stick out to me. I mean, right now Hasman is their second wide receiver, which puts him at 3 or 4. I don't know where that actually puts him, but I think he had really good seasons, and then he got stuck on the Browns, and then everybody forgot about him.
Yeah.
So I think we will see another breakout year from him, and he'll define his place in the league again after being stuck with the worst quarterback play we've seen in 30 years. So
I hope so. I mean, I hope you're right. They're going to need something this preseason.
Right.
And that's what's cool about preseason is, you see a lot of those guys that we're wondering about. I mean, they don't have anybody there that, oh, man, we're just going to give him limited snaps because he's the guy.
Right.
They don't know yet. So I think we're going to see all their wide receivers play a lot of the games.
Yeah.
Well, and then their defense got to help a lot better, too. So they picked up Joey Bosa.
Yeah, we'll see.
As long as he can stay healthy, I think.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to really mention. He is on the injured list right now, but if he could come into the season and start playing and play Joey Bosa level, that'll be big enough difference to turn this team around, probably.
Well, then the Benford should be healthy. He was the one who got hurt, and Elam had to come in the game against the Chiefs, and they just torched him. But then they had their first round pick was that cornerback,
Maxwell Harrison.
Maxwell, yeah. So, they're taking steps to improve their pass defense along with their rush defense.
Well, then they brought Tre'Davious White back.
Yeah.
And then
so that'll be good for their defense.
Yeah, that 5th round pick, also Jordan Hancock. So they brought in lots of secondary and, like you said, run defense. So.
That'll be so. I mean, you just look at Josh Allen's stats in the playoffs, the last 3 years. He's not the issue. His stats are some of the most outrageous stats you've ever seen in the playoffs. I think he has 31 total touchdowns and only 3 turnovers in the last 3 years in the playoffs. But I mean, so obviously their issue's always been the defense. They cannot stop Patrick Mahomes. even in that second half against the Ravens, the first half they played lights out, but the second half the Ravens were kind of making a little bit of run there. You had Mark Andrews kind of fumble right there at midfield after that catch, and then he drops the 2-point conversion where the Ravens kind of took over that second half, but they kind of held on. But it seems like every time they play the Chiefs have like the best game of the season,
Right.
especially in the playoffs. They never hardly ever score like that many points until they play the Bills in the postseason. Yeah. So I like the changes that they've made to the defense. So you obviously your hope is for Keon Coleman to take that next step to where he can almost be like a 1,000-yard receiver for him.
Mm-hmm.
It just was a little bit disappointing there in the playoffs where he didn't produce at all.
I think it would be nice, to take a little bit off of Josh Allen's, shoulders there to be able to, I know this guy's going to be open because they need somebody who can.
Well, and I think Matt Collins is becoming that guy, but they didn't bring him back.
Right.
He's a weirdo, but I like Matt Collins.
Yeah. Is that the barefoot guy?
Yeah. I stand in the snow barefoot.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad preseason's here, man. I'm ready. I think there's so much to watch for, but stuff that I'm excited about, was some of that stuff I said. And then obviously with our Niners, there's so much, that we're looking for there with these rookies, especially Michael Williams. That dude and him and Bosa, if that dude's what they say he's going to be, wow. Let's,
Yeah, we're going to have a really good pass rush.
Yep. Let's bring it on. I think another one, it seems like we talk about the Dolphins a lot considering, but another thing there, they always have drama there in Miami too. So you got like the Tyreek Hill BS that's going on, and they're like, oh yeah, he's got to earn trust from players. Yeah, I would think so. You know what I mean? The guys basically ended the season and start talking shit on the team again. I don't want to be here, and so that's another, like we talked about that with the signing of Mike Hilton and all that. They, that's a team that sometimes you just don't know what to expect from them.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those where is Tua going to be healthy? Is he going to stay healthy? Other things, I think with the Rams, are they going to be able to repeat what they did? Because with their pass rush, if that stays, if Jared Verse is completely for real and that pass rush defense, that's going to be brutal. So, I know you won't see him a lot during the preseason, but
I think what they needed to address the most, and I think they kind of did, was their run defense. We saw that against the Eagles in that playoff game. They did a really good job. I think they had like 7 sacks against Jalen Hurts, and they kind of limited that passing offense. They just gave up 200+ yards to Saquon Barkley. And then even Jalen Hurts had that long touchdown run too. So and that was always like their kind of like their downfall. Most of the season was their run defense. But they went and got
that big deep tackle.
Was it Puna Ford? Did I say?
Yeah.
So he was with the Chargers last year. He did really good with the Chargers. So hopefully they can address that situation. As I know he's only just one player, but even if you improve it just a little bit, and you're getting teams in passing situations, you let Jared Verse and all those other guys that they have on that defensive line do their thing like they did in the playoffs. Because what was it, against the Vikings? They had 8 sacks, and then against the Eagles they had 7 sacks.
Yeah.
So it was something ridiculous.
It was.
So once they get you in passing situations, watch out.
Yeah. One, it's crazy because they were kind of like, you knew it was there for them to be that explosive on the pass rush, but it just didn't happen until late season. And then they hit the playoffs and it just exploded.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy seeing that build up. But yeah.
So another thing into this preseason too, and we talked about it a little bit, but we'll mention it too here, is the veteran quarterbacks that moved, and that you got Sam Darnold in Seattle, and Geno Smith going to the Raiders, and another one too.
Rodgers went to Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson went to
New York,
the Giants.
Yeah, and they've said New York basically come out and said, what's their coach there, Brian Dable, said that Wilson is the starter.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to start there, and then I think all those guys that moved are going to be the starters.
Yeah.
So most success there, and I don't know if we'll see him in the preseason too much, but who do you guys think out of all those is going to have the most success? As far as
as much as I'm not a fan of Geno, I think it's Geno. I think it's the best situation he has.
Right.
Second best, first best tight end, however you want to put it. He has Ashton Jeanty. He has a receiving core that's kind of coming together. They still aren't great there, but they have a receiving core that's kind of coming together. Like I said, it's super explosive, super sure-handed tight end, and a really good run game to back him up.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about that too. I think Aaron Rodgers will have success, but I don't know if it'll be due to Aaron Rodgers. Right. You know what I mean? I think that team, look what they did last year with the a couple of quarterbacks that they had in Fields
Mhm.
and Wilson, but neither of them played great. So,
Well,
but
I
I
do
agree
think
though. I do think that Geno.
I think if they can't win and make a playoff run, at least win the wild card round, I think you get rid of Tomlin.
Wow.
If
Yeah.
if you can't win with Aaron Rodgers with the roster, like you just said, they took
Right.
washed, not very good Russ Wilson, Justin Fields
Hmm.
to a playoff season. If you can't at least win a couple of playoff games with Aaron Rodgers, you're gone. Because
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
talk a lot of crap on Aaron Rodgers season with the Jets, but statistically, he was
He
still a
still
top 10
did good.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still
He was
did
still a
good.
top 10
Yeah.
quarterback.
Right.
So, yeah, if you can't take that guy and go win a playoff game with the roster they have, I would get rid of Tomlin. He's just outdated at that point.
Right.
But sorry, we talked about it. I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago about um, paying top defensive guys rather than paying quarterbacks or getting quarterbacks, even
Mhm.
average quarterbacks. And the Steelers have been doing that for ever since Ben Roethlisberger. I
Yeah.
know they tried to get the Kenny Pickett thing going. He was a high draft pick for them, but he only lasted 2 years there. They brought in Russell Wilson last year, Aaron Rodgers this year. So I think, as far as like just the team situation goes, the Steelers have shown to be consistently 500 or better. So 8, 9, 10 wins.
Mhm.
And then they got DK Metcalf. I know they traded away George Pickens, but
Yeah.
they went and got Jonnu Smith, right?
Yep.
Jonnu
Yeah.
Smith went there. Um, so I think as far as like a team, like a total team situation, Aaron Rodgers might be in the best situation just because they have that proven success. The Raiders, I obviously I like everything that the Raiders have done this offseason. I think Geno
Yeah.
Smith really is in a good situation. It's just the Raiders are the Raiders, and they play in a hard division.
The
I
Raiders
mean,
are the Raiders,
Yeah.
man.
Right.
Can't you remember
Exactly.
like 6 years ago? It
I-
hasn't been that long since
Man.
their
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that
recent
was
success. It hasn't been that long.
well,
Well, it's still.
it was only one season out of the last 20, maybe, that they made the
They had,
playoffs.
they had a couple under Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr
Yeah.
made it 4 or
Yeah.
5 with them.
Did he to the playoffs?
I thought so.
Was that the John Gruden years?
Yeah, I think so.
Then we go over it, and it's not a
Yeah.
lot.
I
They
can
No.
aren't.
remember. Yeah,
They
it
have been
wasn't
a
a lot at all.
franchise,
Yeah.
but we can't
Yeah.
talk down on them like they're the Browns or something. We just, other than that 1 year where their defense played amazingly,
That's
they made
true.
the playoffs, and
That is
other
true.
than that, they've been total dog shit.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I like Geno Smith is probably my favorite quarterback in the
Cool.
situation that he went to.
I agree with you guys. I think it is between those two, those
Mhm.
two teams. So another question on that one as we're there. How long does Sam Darnold stay the starter in Seattle? Is he going to finish the season there?
7
you think?
games.
Do you think only 7 and then he's out?
So
Dude, he
is it
was put, amazing offense with the coach of the year. My personal favorite wide receiver core. I take Jada and Addison over Chase and Higgins. So best wide receiver core. Good enough O line. So they have Darisaw. They have actually it's a really good O line.
Mhm.
I'd have it at like top 7 O line in the league. So he has a really good O line, really good receiving core, really good defense backing him up, and an okay running game. He's in the best situation a quarterback could want to be in. So of course he's going to have a hell of a year. So yeah, I think he's going to come out. I think his turnovers going to be too high. I think he's only going to throw 150 yards.
I did kind of
75
tee
yards a
that
game.
one up for him, but I know
Yeah.
how he feels about that.
I was trying to think, is Milroe the backup, the rookie out of Alabama?
I think so.
Is he going to go in the season as a backup? Man, I don't know. I think he lasts longer than probably Russell Wilson does. I think Jackson Dart will probably start before anybody, to be honest with you.
I think so too. But
Russell Wilson just kind of gives you a certain type of, like, he limits your offense so much. And I think Jackson Dart is just so dynamic as throwing the ball, and he's a little bit better athlete than I think a lot of people give him credit for. So, and plus you traded back into the first round to get Jackson Dart. And so I think Brian Dable, and we talked about this, is kind of on the hot seat. So I think Jackson Dart's going to be, besides, man, here's a question. Who's the first rookie quarterback besides Cam Ward that's going to start?
I think you're right. I think it's Jackson Dart.
Is
I
it
think
Jackson Dart?
I think we're going to see Dart like week 4, week 5, just because I don't care how Russell Wilson's playing. I'm putting Jackson Dart in. I think you definitely let him see some real game time, real NFL game time from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Let him learn, and he can learn a lot from Russell. As much as
Right.
Russell's going down, he knows his stuff. So I think you give him a little bit to learn under Russell, but I think they're in a bad enough spot where they need Jackson Dart as early as he's fit to play.
Right.
yeah,
So I do think it'll be Jackson, and then I think we'll see Milroe.
And then, I mean, don't count out that kid in New Orleans either, though. Tyler.
Tyler Shook.
Shook, that's right. He'll probably be the starter, I imagine. I
He
don't know.
might actually start there. Yeah,
That's
I just
true.
thought of him too.
I forgot
'cause
about him. Yeah,
he is just, he's in the perfect situation
Right.
to start. I mean, their best quarterback on there is Taysom Hill, if he's still there.
Spencer Rattler, man.
Yeah, like I said, their best quarterback there is Taysom Hill.
We brought this up when we were doing the Browns episode, but it kind of just reminded me, like, who has a worse quarterback situation, the Browns or the Saints?
Yeah, that one's rough.
Forgot
It
about the
is rough,
Saints. Holy
yeah.
cow!
So
Yeah.
just we always use our lads because Jared showed us it. You use our lads too, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
So that's our trusted source, and they do have Tyler Shook as the starting
do they?
quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see it.
Yeah.
If they haven't kind of looked at this season more towards a rebuild, they should.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be that great, but yeah, it could be Tyler. And then I don't know. I think Jackson Dart will be out there pretty quick. But if they even have a little bit of success in New York, Dable's going to try to ride it though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I'm just glad football's almost here. We
Mhm.
talked about kind of a lot. We were all over the place with these teams. It's good football talk though, because preseason at least you get to see some of these guys that aren't going to make rosters, and you can see what they could be, or then you'll see their names on the practice roster and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool.
Okay, here's just one more thing to mention,
Okay.
even though we're already running long.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Shedeur Sanders say he's the one that ends up being cut by the Browns because they're not going to rock 4 quarterbacks. I think that's already predetermined. Where does he go? Because I don't think getting cut by the Browns puts him out of the league. I think that puts him on. My best landing spot for him would probably be the Dolphins.
I could see that if they might want him. I actually think that could be a Jerry Jones type of thing. I think maybe you mentioned that before too,
Yeah.
a long time,
Yeah.
a while back. That could be a thing he would do to put him down there, especially if he's playing better than Trey Lance.
Yeah, and then maybe hear some people.
Or no, he's in San Diego now,
Yeah.
or LA now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who is behind Dak?
Cooper Rush still.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush still there.
Yeah.
that
So it
makes
might be a
sense.
good pickup for
Yeah.
the Cowboys, but I'm also thinking maybe the Niners. They always love to have a mobile guy as the second.
Is he pretty mobile? Is he?
I don't think he's not like slow. I think
Mhm.
he's semi-athletic. I think he can escape the pocket.
I think he's a Brock Purdy type
Yeah.
of quarterback. I
Is
think
he?
he's. I think he's got the speed. I think he's got all of what you want from a runner. I think
Mhm.
he's just. I mean, this is the only compliment you'll ever hear me say about Shedeur, but I think he's just a smart guy and knows that he could stay in the pocket and throw better from the pocket, and I think he just has good decision making on when he actually runs.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I was thinking of maybe the Rams because I think Matthew Stafford is at that point where he's just going to keep on getting 1-year contracts,
Mm-hmm.
and we do know who the backup in LA is. Jimmy G, man.
Oh yeah.
So would you rather have Shedeur Sanders or Jimmy G?
G all the way.
Oh man,
Jimmy.
did you watch when he played for the Raiders? My goodness,
it was terrible. It was terrible.
And he was thrown to Devontae Adams.
But
So.
some of these guys go 3 deep too, so it doesn't have to be
true.
the backup. If
I'd
he
rather
goes
Shedeur.
to the Cowboys and just sits down, hangs out, and Jerry gets all those headlines, he'd be pretty happy.
I was thinking of like if he goes to the Rams, he's getting coached by McVay and he's in that offense. It kind of seems, and like same thing with like even if he went to like Minnesota to be with Kevin O'Connell, kind of seems like Kevin O'Connell does pretty good with whoever's playing quarterback for him. I mean, he did it with Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold. He made Sam Darnold a whole lot of money.
Oh hell yeah!
Which go in there and you can back up JJ McCarthy because I mean he's already came into the league with injury history.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're getting from him because he only played in 1 preseason game last year and he didn't. His surgery prevented him from even practicing, so the only thing he got last year was mental reps.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of cool.
Right.
I wish it worked like the NBA when it came to that because NBA, if you don't play regular season as a rookie, you're still eligible for the Rookie of the Year award.
Right.
I think he'd be in the runnings for it this year.
Yeah, I do too.
He might even be my favorite for it. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm glad it's here. We got 4 days, 5 days before we're there. So that's awesome. But I think there's not another game after that for a little bit. But I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm happy to see it. I'm probably gonna watch it, and I don't watch every preseason game, but that one's gonna be fun to watch.
Well, I think we all got a lot of football to watch too, because I start coaching tomorrow. I don't know when your season starts up, but it's pretty soon too.
Yeah.
And then you can come watch either of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be good times. But yeah, so we got some more episodes coming at you. We got the season coming up, and stay tuned for our power rankings too, because those are always a fun episode. We want to hear from you guys on the power rankings, the audience here, because I want to hear what they think of our power rankings when we put them out. But next one we're going to be doing is the QB rankings. This will be the last one of our player rankings. This one could get a little heated. It'll be fun. So, but we'll catch you guys next time, and thanks for listening.